Music.
Here we go. Hey, everybody. Hey, Martin and Karen. Hey, Chris. Good morning, everybody. Working from home today, as you see. Hey, Betsy and Sarah and Kathleen. Had a phone interview this morning, so I figured out how to work from home. Hey, Dina. Hey, Jeff and Mona. Hey, Mary Rose, Denise, Luann.
Benny Goodman, ladies and gentlemen, the man with the torrid clarinet and the even more torrid band who purveys assorted rhythms, all danceable.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Darlene over on YouTube, and Marilyn, Carrie, and Rodney, and Nancy, and Elaine. Hey, Larry. Hey, Cindy. Everything kind of comes in at once now and then, you know. Hey, Todd. Hey, Facebook user. Hey, Bob. What was that sound? Hey, Becky. Hey, Ann. Heather, Carol. Hey, Marty. Hey, Linda. Hey, Jeanette. Hey, Heather and Lori, Carol, Karen. Hey, Sherry. Morning, Laura. Back from New Orleans. All right. Hey, Susan. Hey, Jan. Hey, Georgia. Working from home, so I had a phone interview. Facebook user, thank you for pointing that out. They have not, in theory, Facebook owes me some money for these stars, but I don't actually get them. Hey, Debbie, there's like they want me to fix the texting that they won't actually let me fix. Hey, Amy, hey, Eileen, hey, Kathleen. Much better off joining the Patreon. It's only $3 a month for the lower tier. Thanks, Facebook user. I know, yesterday I had a long Zoom with the History Channel show, but I don't think they liked me very much. They kept asking me H.H. Holmes' question. They say, well, that's your interpretation. We're like, no, that's what the documents here all say. They didn't want to hear it. It happens sometimes. Hey, Susan. Hey, Joanne. Give it another minute or so for everybody to get on, then we'll get started properly. Boker Tov, Lisa. Reminds me, I had to do my Duolingo before I head off on a boat tour today. The main reason for doing which is honestly just to, check in with the boat, try to make sure we're all on the books for September 30th. So I can never be too careful with that stuff. Hey, Becky. Hey, Todd. Today we're going to cover a bunch of stuff that'll be on the Patreon tomorrow, in fact. I just recorded a parlor song. Oh yeah, they have a very specific story they're trying to tell on the episode. They keep trying to insist that what I say is my interpretation. It's like, no, everybody else's interpretation, they're just regurgitating the same thing. I definitely know sensationalism spells better than the fact. You look over Eric Larson's royalties and mine. Hey, Wendy. Hey, Susan. Well, all right. We'll let Benny finish this tune up right here.
Benny Goodman presents Helen Ward singing With All My Heart.
All right, Benny Goodman coming to you live from the Joseph Urban Room of the Congress Hotel in downtown Chicago back in the mid-1930s. But all right, everybody, welcome along to Mysterious Chicago. I'm doing another morning mini tour today because I had a phone interview at 9 o'clock, and then I got to take off from here to go run a boat tour and check the P.O. Box, etc. Very quick plug for the upcoming stuff. Tomorrow night, time travel pub crawl. Saturday, there's some room at Graceland Cemetery, and I just announced one for next weekend. I'm taking September kind of easy overall. Should you need a Mysterious Chicago sweatshirt, hoodie, etc., Cafe Press, and don't forget the new Cemetery Coyote calendar. There's a link at adamchicago.com. But since we're working, tomorrow the Deep Research Post will cover all the stuff from this long saga I've been going through about the song that the Chicago Defender called the First Blues Song, which I stumbled into just under a week ago while we were out on Find a Grave Friday, finding the grave of Paul Dresser, dressed here like a Batman villain. So yeah, November of 1914, a guy named Columbus Bragg, a cultural columnist for the Chicago Defender, was talking about an upcoming benefit performance, a benefit for him, as a matter of fact, in which he mentioned that William Abel, the race's greatest descriptive singer, will sing the first blues song entitled Curses by Mr. Paul Dresser. Now, calling any song the first blues song is really kind of a trick. It kind of depends what qualifies it, what counts it. And if something like Curses, a parlor song from the 1880s, counts as a blues song, why not some of the Psalms of David, in fact? Now, if there had been a white guy saying that something written by this dude was the first blues song, we'd all just kind of laugh it off. But this was a black cultural columnist who probably heard it from this black singer. So Columbus R. Bragg himself was writing a column called On and Off the Stroll, keeping track of the musical goings-on at all of the many cafes and theaters that lined that stretch of State Street in Bronzeville between about like 29th and 46th that they called the Stroll. Now, jazz was just kind of starting at the time. It was just kind of forming. Things like it had been around for a while, but it was just starting to develop. Jazz and blues. What was going on in those cafes and theaters was more like ragtime, dance music, classical stuff even, the popular songs of the day. Now, the singer that he was talking about, Will Abel, we don't know really a thing about. The one clue that I found, and this is probably a dead end, we know from a lot of mentions in the Defender that he was working around the Stroll throughout 1914, primarily at the Mineral Springs Cafe. But this day, Abel Day, they were celebrating Abel Day at the Pompeii, later the Richelieu, at which the Mineral Springs Cafe entertainers would furnish music in honor of Mr. Will Votary. That's kind of a thing. Why would we celebrate Abel Day, which is not a holiday normally, presumably just something for Will Abel, by singing the songs of Will Votary? Now, Will Votary was a composer. He was once referred to as the Black John Philip Sousa. Duke Ellington used to practically tell tall tales about this guy. So that's kind of a question. Would they be celebrating Abel Day because Will Abel was really Will Votary? It's within the realm of possibility. Votary was at a place in his career. He was he had written some of the music for the Ziegfeld Follies that were on Broadway at the time. He seems like he should have been above a point in his career where he would have been going to Chicago to accompany Lucille Hageman on piano. But who knows? The fact that we have this at least allows us to fantasize and write fanfic about it anyway. But right around the corner, this is mentioned the Pompeii, at which the musical director was a guy by the name of Ferd Morton, who would later be known as Jelly Roll Morton. Now, this is important because he used to punch up old parlor songs himself. Here's a bit of an example of him demonstrating to Alan Lomax, the folklorist, how he used to punch up songs, specifically by Paul Dresser. I'll zip up a little bit so you hear him do it the real way.
She's always
This is how Paul Dresser wrote it.
to share a wild sort of the devil, but dead on the level was mine, This was my transformation, one of the first to transform in the business. Of course, I used to transform them all the same way. They call them just privilege and salvation. cute sort of a girl.
Well, that gives you kind of the idea anyway. I imagine the early jazz and blues guys were probably doing a lot of stuff like that because there hadn't been a whole repertoire of songs for them written yet. It's kind of like the early Beatles Quarrymen stuff. They were all doing like songs from the 20s, Putting on the Style, Ain't She Sweet, stuff like that. So My Gal Sal was another Paul Dresser number. But this is kind of a thing about what kind of guy Paul Dresser was. Biographies of him read like any given rock star biography. My Gal Sal is said to have been written about his girlfriend Sally Davis, who ran the fanciest brothel in Evansville, Indiana. After he broke up with Sal, he ended up married briefly to a burlesque queen, sometimes called the first burlesque queen, who was named May Howard. Here's a better shot of her, May Howard. But they ended up breaking up. The story goes that she just sent him a letter saying, "I've met someone else and I'm gone," leaving him at home with a baby who was about to die, and a drug addiction, and a case of syphilis. So the story goes that about a year after that, Dresser was on stage at Tony Pastor's, a place in New York that we've been to on the time. We at least talked about it on the Time Travel Pub Crawls. It was known as a family-friendly place, so maybe we haven't actually been there. I'll have to double check. But he was on stage, and May Howard and her new guy were up in a box, and they were looking down laughing at him. So he just improvised this song, The Curse. The curse was all about "my curse will follow thee, my curse will follow thee." Well, here, I'll play about a bar of it. Or I don't know I can't remember what the tune is. The tune's not great. So, here, let me I'll just pull up a verse and the chorus over here. Yeah. I hope when your wild cries go forth on the silent midnight air, that not a helping hand comes nigh in your misery and despair. Where your tears prove unavailing, may your conscience never cease to call back the days of long ago of blissfulness and peace. To call back the days of long ago of blissfulness and peace. So when judgment day rolls round and you stand trembling there, I trust no baby face will greet you in your wild despair, but I'll be there to meet you, to tell you of a blow that you so cruelly struck and broke a heart so long ago. My curse will follow thee, my curse will follow thee. Now, one Twitter user even told me that the chorus sounds like it's in the Devil's Tritone, that is the building block of a whole lot of heavy metal songs and subject of many urban legends itself. Now, how much of this story was true, that he sang it right, improvised it live in front of May Howard, and in some versions she passed out, had to go to the hospital, etc. Hard to know for sure, but in the sheet music, right at the top, it says, "To Miss May Howard." So definitely he had that in mind. This became kind of an urban legend among theater people. Dresser used to be asked about the story pretty regularly, even though the sheet music was very rare. And in this interview in 1902, he specifically said he never played that song anymore because it was a hoodoo, a curse itself. He said that in Boston recently, some guy was trying to sing it on stage, somebody else told him to stop, and when he wouldn't, the guy shot him to death. This cannot actually be verified. But that was the story anyway, as was going around the theater world at the time, that maybe, just maybe. Now, Paul Dresser mostly wrote songs about like mother, home, soldiers, and dead sweethearts. They're sad, but the sadness is always cloaked in morality, nostalgia, patriotism. This would have been like the one time he really wrote a song from his guts. And it's literally a song about his baby leaving him. Classic blues template, leaving him with a dying baby, a drug addiction, and probably a case of syphilis. So, it wasn't really doing blues music, but you could definitely say that Paul Dresser was singing from having the blues, which was probably what Will Abel was talking about when he told Columbus R. Bragg that Curses, the song he was about to sing in his honor, was the first blues song. So, all right. So that goes the story. Anyways, we'll have all of these. The whole articles are going to be up on the Patreon tomorrow, linked below. The full story of it, the Chicago History Post of the Week, was actually free this week. Even if you're not on the Patreon, you can read that one. It was just too long to keep behind any kind of paywall whatsoever. Even though the $3 tier is like 75 cents a week, and plus you get a cemetery coyote picture every week. So, lots of cool stuff coming up here on Mysterious Chicago. Tomorrow night, once again, Time Travel Pub Crawl is the Endless Summer Edition. It's our tiki bars, old beach bars, summer stuff. It's the last week of summer. Finally. Then, of course, on Saturday, there's still some space left on the walking tour at Graceland Cemetery, and I just listed one for September 3rd, so there's so far a lot of stuff there. And just to make sure that we are all set up for the boat cruise, I'll be working one of those this afternoon for a company called Tours and Boats that I've been doing one tour a week for. Deeply regret having taken that gig, honestly, but it gives me a chance to keep in touch with the ship, which, of course, is very important. We've got Mystericon coming up September 30th and October 1st. Speaking of, if anybody out there knows what the situation is with the conference room at the Palmer House, please email me and let me know. That's like the last sticking point that we've got about getting all the schedule all set up. So thanks a lot for joining me, everybody. That was a story that was just so much fun to research. It just got weirder and weirder. We've got burlesque queens. We've got cultural writers who were former cakewalk champions. We've got a mysterious singer. Everything you want in a good blues saga, anyway. But all right, everybody, thanks a lot for joining me. My name is Adam Seltzer for Mysterious Chicago Tours. I will see you all tomorrow morning with another morning mini tour. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, and of course, if you can, well, you've already had to sit through that song. But that should make it very easy to stay spooky, everybody. Have a great day.